Hello. Today we're going to be discussing certain select passages from the book of Genesis, actually from Genesis chapter 7. Now, the first verse we're going to look at is Genesis 7:5, and that reads, Vaya'as Noah kekol asher zewahu yodhe vavhe, or Adonai. Now, the first thing we have here is here. Vaya'as. That is he made, or he did. And in this case, it's referring to Noah. Okay. Now, so Noah did. And he did according to adjective, call, all, asher, that or which, he commanded, zewa'u, God. So he did, Noah, according to all which he commanded God, or God commanded him to do. Noah did all that God commanded him to do. Now, several things I'd like to point out. First is, here we have the conversive all right here. So we have the wa followed by the imperfect ya'as. So we know that the conversive wa, if you remember, the conversive wa is used in historical narrative. It's very common. It's replete through all the historical books: Genesis, Samuel, Kings, Chronicles, through all of them. It's very common. Now, so we have here an indication of a narrative, historical. Genesis is written in the context of narrative, historical narrative. Okay, and when we use that, we know that even though this is in the form of a imperfect, that it really takes the place of past tense, and it's also what you'd expect for a historical narrative, and in sequence or consequence. So sequence, this happened, then this happened, then this happened. We see this through, the most perfect example of this is through Genesis chapter 1, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Bara is in the perfect, and then the rest of the and this and that and this and that. The wa, which is, and when it precedes right here the imperfect verb, we know that is speaking of a sequence of events, past tense in historical narrative. I think I've covered that enough. What next? Now, the next thing I want you to draw our attention to is what this arrow is here for, is to point to the makef, the dash. If you don't recall, this is what's called a construct chain. Okay, the construct chain is what takes the place of the genitive case in nouns, or possessive case, we call it in English. The son of the father. Okay, that's in the genitive because the father has possession of the son in a grammatical sense. Whenever we see this construct chain, this Makef, and not always does that Makef show a construct chain. Sometimes words can be joined together to show possession. And in Hebrew, it may not seem so obvious that it's showing possession, but that's the general sense. But sometimes you don't have the Makef, right? You don't have this right here. And one perfect example is in the very first word of our Bible is a construct chain, Bereshit, Bereshit. In the beginning is in the construct chain. And there's been quite a bit of discussion as to why that is. But just rest assured that the very first word, Bereshit, in the entire Bible is a construct chain, and it does not have a Makef. So it doesn't always have to have that. But when you see it, you know, okay? So Noah did all which was commanded, which God commanded him. The next one we're going to discuss is 7:19. Let me get my marker here. Okay. So, and of course we have the wall. This is not a conversive wall like the first one was. This is not showing a consecutive action. That's why, because it doesn't have it's not an imperfect verb. Okay, so it doesn't qualify. This is and the waters. Vechamaim. Gabaru. Okay, prevailed. Me'od. Okay, me'od once means more. Here we have it used twice. We'll go back to that in a second. On or up on the earth. And I apologize for this. I'm going to have to get a better, but this is, there you go. That's what that is. I don't know what this thing here is. That's pretty funky. So, Kusu or Wekasu, call Haharim, Wekusu, call Haharim. Gebohim, Asher, Tahat, call Hashamayim. Okay, now, so change colors, do this again. And the waters prevailed. Now, normally just one of these means more or very, but when together, what we see in the Hebrew is when the same word is doubled, it expresses emphasis. So now instead of just and the waters exceeded more, it is and the waters exceeded greatly. Okay, emphasis or the emphatic. Now, the next word here, upon, and then we have the construct chain. The earth. There's my grandson there, in case you want to know what the extra voice is. I'm not a ventriloquist. Wekasu was covered. All the mountains. Har is the root here. Okay, definite article. And im is plural. Okay, plural masculine. Covered all the mountains. Ga bohim, once again, we see that im, plural. We see the definite article. High, it has the same form as the noun that it modifies. So it is the high mountains, all the high mountains, which are under all the heavens. Another way of saying the whole earth. Now, hold on just a second. Let me get rid of this. Give me one moment, please. My inaugural video, by the way, on Hebrew, so I'm ironing these out a little bit. Bear with me. Okay. So this is call, all, asher, that, nashama, or nashamat, which means breath of the spirit. Okay, it shows possession, right? Breath of the spirit of life in its nostrils. Okay, there's be, which means in, preposition, of, nostrils, and this wall here, straight line, this wall means that it is a, tells you what, it's a singular, third person singular. Now, so the mekal, all or from all, which betarava, on dry land, and then metu, died. So all, I'm going to just follow this so that we can get a flow of the words here. All which the breath of the spirit of life in its nostrils, from all which on dry land died. So all, everything that had life, the breath of life in its nostrils, that was alive, that was on the face of dry ground, died. Now, we'll be sure and continue with me here. If you have any suggestions or advice, if I am wrong in some point grammatically, any minor or major point, just let me know. Communicate with me and I'll correct it. Otherwise, I hope you keep joining me and we can continue to work our way through the Bible in Hebrew.